Hey everyone, it's Allie and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be talking about 6 of my most unique scents in my collection. These are 6 that totally stand out from a lot of the things I own for their uniqueness and just their overall oddness, I guess. Like when I first smelled these, they really did throw me off my game and sort of left me like, what the heck is this? But as like time went on and the more I played with them, the more I really started to appreciate them, and they grew on me in such a way that like they're some of my favorites in my collection for their uniqueness and their oddness and just their overall composure of how the scents were made. 2 of them share a very similar vibe, so I almost wanted to make it a list of 5, but I'm going to talk about those 2 individually, making them 6 for this video. And yeah, before I get started, I just want to let you guys know my state just went into like quarantine mode, I think on Wednesday, so I got let off of work for the next 21 days, and I'll probably be doing single perfume reviews all throughout the week for the time being, since I'm gonna have a lot of free time. So yeah, I hope that's okay with you guys, that I dish out a couple videos during the week and still do it on the weekend like I normally do. But yeah, so just look out for those. I'll probably be doing single reviews on some of these. Let me know what you guys want to see. There's a lot in my collection, and if you guys suggest something that I have, I'll definitely do a review on it, so just let me know. But anyway, starting off with my first one that I want to talk about, it's going to be from the House of Amouage, and this is Journey Woman. And you guys, when I tell you that this takes you on a journey, like I kid you not, this takes you on a literal journey. Complex, original, super unique. I've never smelled anything quite like this one. It's got notes of apricot, osmanthus, 2 types of jasmine, regular jasmine and chambec jasmine. It's got nutmeg, cardamom, mimosa, honey, cedar, tobacco, saffron, vanilla, musk. Like, you guys, this is so unique. I would almost classify it as a gourmand, but not until you get to the deep dry down. And it really is a process getting to the dry down, because this one lasts for a long time on my skin, and it really changes and evolves over time. So when you first spray it on, and I sprayed it on my hand earlier to get the deep dry down on my hand, but it's been about 2 hours since I sprayed it on my hand, and I'm not even to the deep dry down yet. Like, I'm still like in the mid, and it's gonna stay this way for a while, but luckily I've worn it so many times now that I'm very familiar with all the stages of this particular perfume. So when you first spray this one, you definitely get a really heavy dose of that tobacco, and it stays sort of tobacco smelling for the first like minute or so, and it's very kind of like jarring when you first spray it, because it's a very, very prominent, and it's sort of a very medicinal smelling tobacco, and I believe it's smelling this way because of the tobacco mixed with the cedar. It sort of gives it like a cloth band-aid vibe, so that's what I mean by it smells medicinal. It reminds me of something medical, and it smells sort of like a cloth band-aid. And I know that's kind of weird and just odd, but that's what makes this one so interesting and unique. After a few minutes, it starts blossoming into this sort of slightly floral, still medicinal, tobacco-y smelling, sour but sweet perfume. And as it wears on the skin, it gets progressively more and more floral. And that's when you get into more of the mid. Once you get in the mid, you still get a slight tobacco note, but it's definitely more in the background. And then you get these sort of sweet but kind of sour florals up front. And it's really, really interesting, and I really do enjoy when you get to the mid, which is where it's at on my hand right now. After about 4 hours of being in the mid, you sort of go into the deep dry down, and this is where it becomes more gourmand and more interesting, in my opinion. It becomes a very honeyed apricot and vanilla scent, and it's absolutely stunning. Like, you definitely get the apricot in the background throughout the fragrance, but it's far in the background, sort of aiding to the rest of the components of the fragrance. But like, oh my god, once you get to that final dry down stage, you just smell straight honey and apricot and a slight vanilla, and it is so yummy. It smells so good. It's very gorgeous. It's very elegant. It's very yummy. It's very playful, but being very mature at the same time. I would definitely say this is more of a mature scent. I would say 25 and up, and 25 is kind of like pushing it. I feel like a lot of 25-year-olds would not understand this scent, but for me, I feel like there are a lot out there that still would, that enjoy fragrance, but this is definitely one that is unique, and I've never smelled anything quite like this. It's quickly becoming one of my favorites, and for good reason. It's a cool scent and absolutely stunning, and one of my favorites from the house of Amouage. So definitely check this one out if that's something that you're interested in. The next one that I'm going to talk about is one from the house of Kenzo, and this one is Kenzo Jungle L'Elephant. And this one is a very weird. I love the cap, by the way. The cap is really heavy, and it's like an elephant like walking with like plants behind it. So this one is really odd, and you cannot judge this one based off of what you smell from the cap, because the cap smells really animalic to me. It's very weird smelling. It reminds me of the first time I ever processed a deer, which was about a year ago, while I was processing it, and that whole process was like, it was intense, and like, oh my gosh, it was something. But I had processed a deer about a year ago, and that smell that the deer was like emitting from itself while it was being processed is what I smell, kind of. And I know that's kind of weird, and don't let that scare you, but it smells like that. It smells kind of gross. And not that I'm over time, as I've played with the scent, I've sort of kind of started enjoying that smell of the cap, because it's kind of weird, and I don't get that much of the animalic note that I was getting before, because I feel like I'm smelling other things now. But this one's got notes of mandarin, cloves, cumin, cardaway, mango, heliotrope, ylang ylang, licorice. It's got gardenia, amber patchouli, vanilla. Like, it's a very, there's a lot going on in this one. And when you first smell this one and spray it, it sort of gives off like a poopery effect. If you know what that is, it's like what they used to put in bathrooms. I'm sure they still sell it now to sort of make bathrooms smell nicer, and it looked like a bunch of brown pieces of wood and stuff, and like, oh, it was weird. It was big in like the 90s and stuff. Like, I think everyone in my family had poopery in their bathroom. So yeah, it was a thing. But this sort of gives off that kind of vibe, and after you spray it, the first few minutes, it starts sort of turning into this sort of Christmas candle vibe, like a really expensive, spicy, like sort of burnt orange and vanilla Christmas candle vibe. Or it almost gives off a those oranges that people put cloves in to make, like, I don't even know what they use them for. They probably use them in like food and stuff like that. But it sort of gives off that kind of vibe as well. So it sort of smells very Christmas candle-y. And I kind of do enjoy it when it gets to that point and starts smelling like a Christmas candle. It's very warm, it's very inviting. This is very like perfect for the holidays. It's a really beautiful scent in general. Once you get to the deep dry down, which takes a while, because this scent in particular is like 13, 14 hours on my skin. I can smell it into the next day if I put it on. It's a beast mode scent. This one does not play around. But once you get to that deep dry down, you end up with a very sort of ambery smelling vanilla, and it's really comforting. It's really beautiful. But to get there, like, you have to wear it for at least 8 hours before you get to that yummy, comforting dry down. And I really, really do enjoy it for its complexity, its uniqueness. I don't think I've ever owned a scent that's quite this weird. I mean, I've owned quite a few weird ones, but this one is in its own category of strange and odd for the way it develops and the way it just smells overall. It's very spicy, it's very warming, it's very inviting, it's very heavy. I would recommend this in cold weather. Definitely don't wear this in the summer unless you want to be bold and daring and like choke everyone out. around you, but definitely beast mode fragrance, and I really do like it. The Amouage one, I get at least 8 hours on my skin. I think I might have forgotten to say that. So the next one that I'm going to talk about is one that y'all know I love, and this is my signature from the House of Mugler, and it's Aura. Now Aura is my ride or die. I love this for how odd it is. It's very weird. Not everyone's gonna understand it. You got bergamot, rhubarb leaf, orange blossom, green notes, ylang ylang, bourbon vanilla in the base, which is one of my favorites in this. Woody notes. You got tiger liana, wolfwood, and amberwood, from what I remember. And this is cool. This is like a really, really unique, beautiful scent to me. It's very reminiscent of a doctor's office, so it's got sort of like a medicinal vibe as well. But I love how green it is. I love how warm it is because of that vanilla. And overall, I just love how unique this fragrance is. It's not like anything I own, but this one does share a similar vibe with another fragrance that I'm going to talk about right now. So the one that reminds me a lot of this one is actually Marc Jacobs Decadence. Sorry, I'm always stumbling, but y'all know this to be my thing now. I always stumble my words. So Marc Jacobs Decadence is a really, really cool one. You've got notes of plum, iris, saffron rose, chambec jasmine, orris, amber, vetiver, and papyrus. And this comes off very green smelling and very warm at the same time. Where Aura gets its warmth from that bourbon vanilla, this one gets it from amber. But you definitely get like a really green, sour note from this because of that plum. And I really do love it. It sort of reminds me of like a really decadent woman who's wearing all gold. She's elegant. Maybe she's from like a royal family. Oh my gosh, this smells like a good time out and about with your girlfriends. There's just so much about this scent that is just so unique and interesting. It really does smell like the bag. It smells green, it smells cold, it smells gold, it smells opulent. It's very, very different from Marc Jacobs. And it's easily a standout from like his line of fragrances. There's nothing in his line that smells quite like Marc Jacobs Decadence, and I absolutely love it for its uniqueness and its boldness and its overall oddness, I want to say. Same with Aura. I feel like they share a very similar vibe. They're both very green. They're both warming at the same time. They both smell unique, and they're just very cool scents. And I highly suggest checking out Marc Jacobs Decadence if that's something that you want to go for. Now the next one that I'm going to talk about is one that's talked a lot about on YouTube, and I have the original formulation of it, and I have a little decant of the newer formulation as well. And this one is Oud Bouquet by Maison Lancôme. Now you've got notes of saffron, rose, oud, praline, and vanilla with this one. And it really is a beautiful, unique oud scent. It's very oud heavy in my opinion. And that oud in this makes it smell sort of petrol-y. So it smells sort of like gasoline, and I know that might sound off-putting, but don't let that scare you. Once you get past that sort of initial blast of weirdness that this one is known for, you start drying down to this sort of rosy praline vanilla smell. I definitely get like a powdery chocolate from this. You definitely get some of that rose adding complexity. It's warm, it's yummy, it's really beautiful. It's a very unique scent. And I also have, like I said, a decant of the newer formulation, and the newer formulation is a bit lighter. This one is denser, heavier, more syrupy. Definitely denser for sure, and syrupy. This one is just a tad bit lighter, with the praline really shining in this one, where I feel like the oud shines a bit more in this one. You definitely get the oud, but this one is a bit more praline and vanilla heavy. And it's really, really nice. I actually enjoy both. I'm not sure which one I enjoy the most. I almost want to say this one because it was the first one I had gotten, but this one is actually really, really good too, so it's really hard. But if I'm feeling, you know, something a little bit denser, richer, more syrupy, I'll definitely go for this one. If I want that same effect but not as dense and heavy, I'll go for this one. So it's just a matter of preference. You guys wear what you like, wear what you want. I'll probably end up picking up a full size of the newer formulation just because I think it's really cool and interesting. So definitely something to keep in mind depending on what it is you're looking for in your fragrance. Now the last one I'm going to talk about is one from the House of Zoologist, and this one is Rhinoceros. You've got notes of rum, bergamot, lavender, sage, pine needles and pine, artemisia, tobacco, immortelle, geranium, oud, cedar, vetiver, sandalwood, amber, leather, and musk. Like, there's a ton of notes in this fragrance. And this fragrance is bold. It's bold, it's unique, it's a little jarring, it's a little intimidating. It's a lot to take in. Out of all of these, this one is the one that I would say is a lot more masculine. It's geared towards men. All the others are more geared towards women. This one is definitely intense. When you first get that initial blast, it's a huge blast of rum, leather, and tobacco, and it's in your face. It's unapologetic. It's very bold. It's a very kind of smelling. When I first smelled this, it threw me off. It scared me. I was like, I don't get it. It's weird. It's very just It smelled like someone pulled a leather car seat out of an expensive car and let it sit in the rain. That sort of wet leather vibe, which was probably the rum and the tobacco and leather mixing together to give me that sort of vibe. And that's what you get in the initial opening. And it's about kind of weird for like 15 to 20 minutes. But as it starts settling down, it becomes a very smooth leather, woody, sort of creamy scent. And it's really, really nice, still very masculine. So for guys out there wanting something unique and different, this is a really good option for you guys. It's definitely one that takes you for a ride. It's very complex and it goes through a very long scent journey. Once you get to the very like deep dry down, I want to say it's very sort of vanilla, sandalwood. So sort of woody and like vanillic a little. But I really do enjoy it, and it's a really interesting one. Don't be thrown off by the initial spray. If you get this one, play with it, see how it makes you feel. You know, definitely sample it before you buy it. If you can buy a decant of it, do it. But it's definitely a cool one, and I highly suggest checking this one out. So yeah, those are the 6 that I wanted to talk about. I'll probably make a part 2 later on, and like I said earlier, definitely keep an eye out during the week. I'll probably be pushing out a bit more content and doing single reviews. So if there's something you want me to talk about that might be in my collection, definitely comment it down below because I'm on lockdown. I'm gonna be home all the time right now. So yeah. So till next time, everyone, stay safe, stay home, and I'll catch you guys later.